Good morning, children. Today we are going to start with the second lesson, Nicobominus. Its author is Terry Jones. About the author. These are the first two chapters from a novel called Nicobominus by Terry Jones. It is full of humor and adventure, and you should read the whole novel if you get the chance. As well as being a writer of books and poems, Terry Jones is also a comedian, screenwriter, actor, director, and historian. Yes, you can see on your screen, children, he is Terry Jones, who is a well-known writer, comedian, screenwriter, actor, director, and historian. Now let's start with the lesson. Nicobominus. This is the story of the most extraordinary child who ever stuck his tongue out at the Prime Minister. So this is a story about Nicobominus. His name was Nicobominus. He lived a long time ago in a city called Venice, and he could do anything. Venice is a place in Italy, children, and the best quality of Nicobominus was that he could do anything. You give him any task and he is able to do it. Of course, not everybody knew he could do anything. Only those people who were closely associated with Nicobominus, only those people knew his quality. In fact, only his best friend, Rosie is Nicobominus' best friend. Only Rosie knew, and nobody took any notice of anything Rosie said, because she was always having wild ideas anyway. Wild? Weird, very unusual, something that is hard to believe. So she always had wild ideas, and that's why, children, nobody took Rosie seriously. Whatever she used to say, they did not pay any attention to her thoughts and to her words. One day, for example, now this is just an example of her weird ideas. One day, for example, Rosie said to Nicobominus, "Let's pull up every single weed on your doorstep." Weed, that is the unwanted grass that grows. So she says, "Come on, Nicobominus, let's pull up every single weed on your doorstep." "Let's not," said Nicobominus, which is what Rosie thought he would say. Rosie was expecting that Nicobominus will say, "No, we will not do this. It's not a good idea." She is ready with another idea. "In that case," replied Rosie, "let's discover the land of dragons." So she says, "Okay, if you're not comfortable with the first idea, let's go ahead with the second idea. Let's discover the land of dragons." Dragons, a legendary serpentine or reptilian. So she says, "Come on, let's discover the land of dragons. Let's go and find out the land of dragons." "Don't be a daft." Nicobominus says, "Don't be a daft." Daft means silly. "How can we do that?" So he is questioning her. "What strange ideas you are giving? How can we do that?" So she answers, "Because you can do anything," said Rosie. So Rosie says, "I have full confidence that you can do anything, so you can do this task also." So the next morning, just as it was getting light, Rosie threw little pebbles up at Nicobominus' shutters. Children, Nicobominus did not take Rosie seriously. She said he heard and he forgot. The next day morning, Rosie appeared in his house, and in order to wake him up, she started throwing pebbles at the shutters. Nicobominus was still half asleep when he looked out. So he noticed that voice and he came out to see who it was. And for his surprise, he saw Rosie. "What's the matter, Rosie?" he asked. So he asked Rosie, "Why are you here early in the morning? What's the matter?" "Shh," whispered Rosie. "I have got the buns and the lemonade." "What for?" asked Nicobominus. So Rosie says, "Shh, I have got the buns and lemonade." But Nicobominus is not able to understand why she has brought the buns and lemonade. So he says, "What for?" "Supplies for the road," whispered Rosie. Supplies for the road means they are going to go on a journey, and in between they are going to need something to drink and something to eat. And that's why she has arranged those things. So, where are we going? Asked Nicobobinus. "We are going to find the land of dragons," whispered Rosie. "Don't you remember?" So she says, "I told you yesterday, we are going to find the land of dragons. Don't you remember?" Yes, now on the next page, children. Page number 16. "Oh, I thought you might have forgotten about that," said Nicobobinus. So Nicobobinus thought that, "Oh, you said, and I thought you were just joking. So I forgot about it." "No fear," said Rosie. "It's one of the best ideas you have ever had." This was actually Rosie's idea. So she says, "No fear, don't worry. It's one of the best ideas you have ever had." "What about the weeding?" said Nicobobinus. So Nicobobinus asks her that, "What about the weeding, the first idea that you gave?" "Come on," said Rosie. Rosie says, come on, let's work on the second idea." So they set off through the early morning town. Early morning they started their journey. When they got to the end of the narrow street where they lived, there was a narrow street in front of their house. When they were on the street, they met a night watchman, and he was surprised to see these two children early in the morning out on the road. "Where are you two going at this hour?" he asked the question. "Where are you two going at this hour?" The answer came, "We are going to look for the land of dragons," said Nicobobinus. "You can't do that at this time of the morning," said the night watchman. So the night watchman said, "No, it's not at all suitable for you to come out at this time." But before he could grab them, before he could catch hold of them, Rosie and Nicobobinus were sprinting away as fast as they could. These two children thought that the night watchman should not catch hold of us, and they started running. And they didn't stop running until they had crossed 3 bridges and tripped over a dog that was lying asleep under a garden wall. Now they started running, and they crossed 3 bridges. And there was a dog lying under a garden wall. And they tripped over that dog who was lying under a garden wall. Rosie's bottle of lemonade. She had taken lemon juice. So Rosie's bottle of lemonade smashed against the wall. It fell down and it hit against the wall. And the dog, because of that sound, children, the dog leaped to its feet, barking. And he started barking because he thought that his life is in danger. As if it had thought dog's doomsday had arrived. Doomsday, the judgment day, as if the final day, as if there's some danger to his life. That was the last day for his life. So that's doomsday. So, as if the dog's doomsday had arrived. For a moment, they were sure it was going to bite them. The way the dog was snarling and barking, and he was angry. So, from all these expressions, the children came to know that the dog is going to bite them. But then it noticed the 2 buns. The lemonade bottle also had fallen, children, and the buns also. The 2 buns that had fallen into the gutter, the dog noticed those 2 buns and it wolfed them back, barked, "Thank you," and it started barking back as if he is saying thank you to the children for those buns. And the dog ran off to tell its friends. He started running to collect his friends so that they can all have a feast on those buns. "We are not going to get far without supplies," said Rosie gloomily. So, what does Rosie say? That we cannot go very far without any supplies. We will need something to drink and something to eat. "I wonder if I could pick a few of those." "Yes," said Nicobobinus. Now they are near the garden wall, children. They are near the garden wall, and on the other side of the garden wall there was a big apple tree with lots of apples on it. "I wonder if I could pick a few of those," said Nicobominus, gazing up at an apple tree on the other side of the garden wall. So he's looking at those apples. Now the supplies that they had with them, like the bun and the lemonade, have gone. So now they have to arrange something else. So by God's grace, the apple tree is there and the apples are also there. So he's thinking, I wonder if I could pick a few of those. I wonder if I could have some of those apples so that our problem can be solved, said Nicobominus, gazing up at an apple tree on the other side of the wall. Of course you can, said Rosie. Now you all know Rosie has full faith on Nicobominus. So she says, of course you can. Stand on my shoulders. So she offers him help and she says, stand on my shoulders. Yes, now you can see the next page, children, page number 17, and you can see the picture. Rosie standing down, and on top of her, on her shoulders, is Nicobominus trying to pluck the apples. And see that basket, children? It's empty now. It was filled some time before, but now it's empty. So Nicobominus stood on Rosie's shoulders and climbed onto the wall. But the tree was further away than he thought. And as he reached out, he lost his balance and fell with a crash down into the most magnificent garden he had ever been in. So the wall was high. With the support of Rosie, Nicobominus tried to reach to the apples. But the tree was further away. The tree was beyond his reach. And as he reached out, somehow he tried to reach, he lost his balance. Yes, and he fell down with a crash into the most magnificent, grand, elegant, or splendid in appearance. I'll be showing you the picture of the meanings, children. You can note it down. And he fell into the most magnificent garden he had ever been in. Nicobominus looked back at the high wall, but there was no way he could climb back. Now, Nicobominus is inside the garden, Rosie is outside the garden, and Nicobominus, as soon as he falls down, he looks at the wall because he wants to come back. He wants to climb that wall back and come back to Rosie. But then he noticed that the wall is very high. What am I going to do? He yelled. Now he is talking from the other side. That's why he is yelling, children. Yelling. The pitch is little louder, little higher, because Rosie is on the other side of the wall. So he yelled. You will think of something. Rosie yelled back, crossing her fingers very hard. So she's saying, I have faith in you. You will think of something. You will think of some idea of coming out of the garden. Oi! Said a voice behind Nicobominus. And then a third voice, a strange voice, could be heard. Nicobominus didn't stop to look who it was. He ran straight into a tree. Nicobominus, as soon as he heard this strange voice, he realized that there's danger. So he started running. He did not turn back also to see who it was. And he started running. He ran straight into a tree. Got you, said the voice. And Nicobominus felt 5 thick fingers on his neck. And that stranger could catch hold of Nicobominus. His 5 fingers was on Nicobominus' neck. And he says, got you. Oh, said Nicobominus. I've been waiting for you, said that voice. The voice, that is the stranger, says, I have been waiting for you. And Nicobominus felt 5 more thick fingers round his wrist. But Nicobominus, instead of trying to run away, doubled himself up and went backwards as fast as he could. He could understand that it's difficult for him to move from his clutches. So what did Nicobominus do, children? Instead of trying to run away, he doubled himself up and went backwards. Instead of moving forwards, he moved backwards as fast as he could. So the man's legs were knocked from under him. The man could not move backward according to Nicobominus' pace, and that's why the man's legs were knocked from under him. And he landed. He fell in a pile of leaves. Pile of leaves, many leaves together. Yes, so that is pile of leaves. It was a garden, children, so there might be plenty of leaves over there. Are you all right? Called Rosie. Rosie, She's on the other side of the wall. So she's asking from there, "Are you all right?" But she didn't hear any reply. She did not get any answer except for the man who growled. Only she could hear the growling sound of that man, but she could not hear Nicobobinus. "Just you wait, both of you." So that stranger is saying, "Both of you, just wait. I'm going to take care of you now." "Oh dear," said Rosie. "Sounds like trouble." And she was right. So Rosie came to know that the stranger has caught hold of Nicobobinus and now they both are in trouble. And she was right. So this is where we finish part 1, children. Very soon you are going to hear the explanation of part 2. But for today, we stop over here. I request all of you, please read part 1 once again. Go through each and every line. What are the meanings that I have given while reading? Kindly note it down. I will show the clip of it. Please note it down. Read carefully. Try to comprehend. Try to recollect what explanation I have given. And a small task, if it is possible, kindly search the first 3 answers and mark it in your textbooks. Thank you.